y'all be joining us because we show missed you. Look, watch, like, and subscribe to our channel at Sister Sis 1988, as well as follow us on all our social media platforms at Sister Sis 1988. Going to introduce myself. I'm Jamie.
I'm Latoya.
And I'm Calandra.
And we have brought a wonderful guest here today, Clarissa Burt. She is joining us from Arizona, the very hot Arizona. So I'm going to go ahead and let Miss Clarissa kind of give us a small summary about her, and then we're going to jump right into this interview.
Well, thanks so much for that. And first of all, I just want to say thank you to the three of you for the work that you do. I just have to say that. I want to start off by saying thank you, because nurses are truly some of the most amazing creatures on the face of this planet. As I was, I kind of gave you a little idea before. I had an operation in December, and those nurses, I tell you, that took care of me. I just couldn't thank them enough. They were extraordinary. So thank you all again, because I can only imagine, the things that you all go through on a daily basis. But I can only imagine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't even want to imagine, actually. But
I'm good.
Anyway, my name is Clarissa Burt, and I am the author of The Self-Esteem Regime. Philadelphia-born girl. I moved to Texas when I was in elementary school for a couple of years, and then back to Jersey I went, where I graduated high school, but with big dreams. And the dreams were to be an actress and a model, and anything that was on a stage or with a microphone is kind of where I wanted to be. I was Mary Poppins in the kindergarten play, so that kind of, was the catalyst. Because I'll tell you, man, I told you, it's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious stuff.
Yep.
It's a little kitschy, it's catchy, it's kitschy at the same.
And I can't say it.
And when I got my first standing ovation, and I went, damn, I think I like this. I think I'll stay. So anyway, I just, it took me a while to get there, but I did. And I started modeling in New York City in the 80s. And then I found myself in Paris, and then quickly into Italy, where I stayed for about 30 years. From the modeling piece, I went into acting for a while, and then I went into on-camera talent for Italian television. And then I started to produce Italian television, where I ended up with the Miss Universe pageant, 3-hour live broadcasts and 18 cameras. So there was a lot of stages. I've been on a lot of stages.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It sounds like it. I'm jealous.
Yeah, well, I am too, because I'd love to go back there. And I just
it's funny.
Okay. Listen, we're going to go ahead and dive into these questions. Miss Latoya, go ahead.
So, Miss Clarissa, why is self-esteem so important, and how do you gain self-esteem?
Well, self-esteem is so important because it's who we are. It's how we are. It's how we treat ourselves. It's how we treat others. It's the perception that we have of ourselves. It's the boundaries that we create. And one of the most important things that I think, especially for us women, is so quickly when we're strong and we do create those boundaries, immediately, we're called a whole bunch of not nice names, that it's just not really cool. I think that, all women should be respected and loved and treated like ladies. And that's just the way I will always, suggest that women be treated if they want to live in happy, healthy self-esteem. Let's just put it that way. And so the relationship that you have with yourself is also the relationship that you bring to the table every day. I talk about the value systems that a lot of people really are lacking in. And so if I talk about a value system and I say, okay, girls, give me your top 4 in your value system. A lot of people will look at me kind of like deer in the headlights and not really know what a value system is and not really know what values are. But I'm telling you, it's one of the most important blueprints that you will come to the table with on any given day. And so for those of us who want to be a better person more than we are today, and for those of us that want to do the work on our personal development and our self-improvement, we know that we need to be creating a very good, strong, solid value system, right? So mine is what I call taking the high road. That is honesty, integrity, gratitude, and honor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Practicing radical honesty with yourselves and others. And I think it's one of the most important values that you will like. It's really an honorable place to come from. Integrity. It's who you are when nobody else is in the room.
Correct.
When you don't have a tracking system or an accountability partner. Gratitude. Drop and give me 10. If you can't give me 10 things you're grateful for right now, you need to get working on that right away. And so mine change up every day. I'm always thanking. I'm thanking the universe. I'm thanking the source. I'm thanking divine. I'm thanking God. I'm thanking all the time.
Yeah.
Things that I do have. Yes, we're going through difficult times. Yes, things look gloomy, but I know I've traveled the world, and I can tell you that I am the luckiest, most blessed people I know. So I want to keep that, Oprah said this all the time as well, the whole gratitude journal, how important that was to keep that in the forefront. And then the last is honor. And most people think that honor is something that's really more a military term. Honor is really, it's everything that it's your playbook. It's the playbook that you bring. Again, it's that value system. It's a playbook. It's I honor myself, and I honor the people that I have a relationship with. And so that is really, I think, one of the first things on how to keep self-esteem is to keep very, very, very close track on that value system.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Can you please tell us about your book?
I will tell you about the book. The book is called The Self-Esteem Regime. And a couple of things I wanted to say about that. And regime is an organized way of doing things. So that's the reason. It was a little, as I said, a little kitschy and a little catchy, but because it rhymed, but it worked, right? When I first got this book back from the publishers in New York City, you'll see that there are 3 different colors of blue here. The original colors were pink, yellow, and orange, like a peachy color. And it was beautiful, and it would have really jumped off the shelves more than this does. But somebody had asked me before, who did I write this book for? And usually I'll say women. But then I asked the publisher, you can't ask a publisher anything. Once a manuscript's in, it is their way or the highway, and you can't choose your cover, they do. So the only thing I asked my literary agent to go back in and say, can we change the colors of the book? Can we make them blue so men will pick it up? Can we make the cover blue so men will pick it up? Because let me tell you something, guys are having just as much difficulty as we're having. We've got a loneliness epidemic right now, and a lot of our guys are going through this in a really big and bad way. We've also got a youth mental health crisis that has astronomical numbers. So even our last year and last April, our Attorney General, Vivek Murthy is his name, came out and said, we've got a youth mental health crisis, and we have, like the numbers are 50%, girls, where we've got kids that are either depressed, anxious, thinking about committing suicide. I'm older, I say committing suicide, or have unalived themselves. And so, this is something that we really need to be taking to heart, keeping our ear to the ground for our youth, and making sure that we are constantly, I just wanted to read you all something that I think that would answer the question maybe that you asked, and that is, who did I write the book for? So ladies, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I'd like to acknowledge the millions of people all over the world who have been abandoned, abused, beaten, hit, struck, oppressed, depressed, distressed, held back, lied to, cheated on, lost, betrayed, deceived, misled, double-crossed, walked out on, stabbed in the back, sold down the river, stolen from, deserted, discarded, shunned, cast out, dropped, dumped, forgotten, neglected, rejected, and/or dejected. You are the sole reason I have written this book.
Oh, wow.
That's everybody then.
That's
everybody. I like that one.
Everybody, one or two of those things in there has happened.
I'm every damn one of them.
Right, for real.
Life is life, and life will trigger, and that's where I say we have to have the tools in the shed on any given day, and those tools you acquire with life and living life and learning about life. But when you are keeping up, I think it's really our sacred duty to be keeping up with our personal development, our self-improvement, reading the books, taking the time, our self-care, doing the courses, doing the classes, creating the support group like you girls have since you were 4 years old. That support group, you girls can go to each other for anything. I guarantee you, no matter what's happening in life, you've got each other's back. And you may not always agree on everything, but you've got each other's back. That's the kind of support group that I talk about creating for yourselves in this book. So that those resources that I talk about, the tree, how life will trigger. here comes that storm, and here comes the hurricane or whatever, the tornado, and and boom, and it hits. Now, we want to make sure we're standing strong in our stead, much like a well-rooted tree. Because when that happens, we know that maybe we'll lose a leaf or two, or potentially even a limb, but we're not going to be uprooted with the storm and transported away when we have the tools in the shed. So
Mhm.
that's why I think that, when we do the work that we know we need to do. And as I had said before, the toxic stops here. Because when we talk about generational trauma, and a lot of times, many of those things, our parents only knew what they knew, and their parents only knew what they knew, and they only knew, you keep going back and forth, they only knew what they knew, right? And so that, as many of you may know, parenting doesn't come with a manual. It doesn't.
Not at all.
No instructions, So, and so
But-
everybody's doing the best they can.
Kudos to those who. Yeah.
So
Right.
what made you write the book now?
I'll tell you what made me write the book, and that was the women in my life. And so when I was a kid, that 5-year-old little girl I was talking about before, I had a mother who would constantly say, "Oh, don't take my picture. I can't stand my picture taking. I look awful. Okay." So here's the 5-year-old little me and my mother.
Oh my God. She almost like
Okay. Now I think my mother's a pretty lady.
she was a
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh my God.
So I'm looking at my mom, and I'm 5-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old little girl, so we're talking about perception, her
Yes.
Her perception of herself. Yeah.
Yep.
her lack of self-esteem. Okay, now I could have made that mine. I could have made all that mine, and I probably did for
Yeah.
a very long time. In fact, I know I did for a very long time. My grandmother, another beautiful lady. Now this is a younger picture of her, but my grandmother, this goes way back. She had to lose weight, she didn't need to lose an ounce. So she, I don't know how old she was. I don't know how old she was. Well, she decides one day she's going to take 2 diet pills. She chokes on the damn things. She perforates her esophagus and winds up in the hospital. Now, we're 6 weeks in the hospital because she took 2 diet pills. And I'm looking at her. And I'm going, what is it about these 2 women, these really important women in my life, I adore them both, that is, I have a perception of them like they're all that.
Yeah.
And their perception of themselves is, it's crap.
Mhm.
And so that is where it started. Then I started to model, and I'm working with some of the most beautiful women on the face of the planet. And I mean, I worked with Iman, I worked with Pat Cleveland, I worked with Marpessa and Dalma, I worked with them all. I'm 65 years old. I was right there with every one of them. So do the math. Because you're going to go, wow, Pat's like 70, 71 now, 72, right? But I was on the runway there. And I'm just saying, I'm saying those names to tell you about the epoch, the epoch or the era that I worked in. But there were some girls that I worked with that were, again, some of the most beautiful women on the face of the planet. Toxic relationships, binging, anorexia, drinking, drugging, bad, and look, when we're kids, we were younger and whatever else, but there was a correlation between my mother and grandmother in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and these girls halfway around the world on all the major runways, Valentino, Versace, Armani, And so I realized that there was a common denominator, and it didn't matter what you look like, and it didn't matter how much money you had. It didn't matter. It was something that was intrinsic, and that it was passed on, that it came from what you were taught. And if somebody had told you you ain't worth,
You're gonna believe it.
you're
Yep.
gonna, so you know the drill. And so I became really, really passionate about just wanting to get the word out and making sure that, that we have this rah-rah session going on all the time for everyone, mostly for women. But, I'm constantly, and you need a couple of, uplifting words, I'm your girl. And that's just the way I've always been. And it doesn't make me anything more than I hate to see people in pain.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
That's
Okay.
That's the motivator. Pain.
Okay, my question. Does anyone ever perfect self-esteem?
No, and I mean that, it's funny because people do ask this question all the time. And what I want to say about that is, you never take a self-esteem test and pass, get 100 and you're good to go for the rest of whatever. And why is that? Because of what I said before, life will trigger you. It ebbs and flows. It comes and goes. I mean, there are certain things that, you're going to go through a breakup or, a divorce, a betrayal, a death in the family. You're going to lose someone close to you. There are going to be things that are going to set you off that are going to be I've been through it. I'm not going to lie. I've been through this quite a few times. I didn't see it coming, and you get blindsided, and I'm telling you, the pain is excruciating. And if you make it all about, you and what you did wrong and what you could have done differently, and you did, I mean, no, I'll take into account, and I'm open for, discussion. As I said, we're always a work in progress, right? And so that work in progress means I do have to put myself into question, but I don't necessarily think that, somebody stepping out on me is my fault. If we're in a crisis, or we're in a difficult place, or you need something different, just got to tell me. You don't have to lie, right? And so, and that goes down a whole nother path. But you understand what I'm saying. In other words, no, we are never 100%, because those daily demons, Jamie, they're always there. And I talk about the daily demons in the book. They will constantly be coming back. Maybe not like before, maybe not as frequently, maybe not as many. Because they come in droves sometimes, it's not just one or two. As you do the work, they're less and not as often. But when something hits you that hard, they will come back. And you have to be, again, those tools in the shed are what's going to get you through.
Mhm.
And just to piggyback off of that, I'll give you a prime example when you're saying sometimes, you just have those days. So some days of the week, I work in corrections. And like last night specifically, I guess I didn't make him very happy on his medication administration.
Oh.
And he, now this is a guy that compliments me most of the time. But last night, for whatever reason, he called me midget, ugly, midget, let me get it together. Ugly, midget, bad built self. That's what he said.
Oh my Lord.
So I looked and I laughed. I'm laughing. Then I laughed again at myself. But then that comment has been in my head all. Because I was like, I should have said this, I should have said that, I should have said this, and I should have said that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of like what you're saying. Like, it's not 100%.
triggers you.
Some days I go in there.
Yeah.
It goes. But
it does. I think one of the best things when you start to do this kind of work, and at least it has been in my case, and that is you soften up a little bit.
Mhm.
When you start to, when you take a really good look at yourself and you are doing the work, and that, the toxic stops here, I'm a better person more than I am today, all of those things, you really do start to soften up. And the little stuff, you don't sweat the little stuff as much anymore. You just kind of let it go. And you start to understand. When you start to understand more about yourself, you really start to understand more about everyone in general. And so I think that that's really, really important. When I started to go down, the path a little bit, and I read a book by a PhD, and it's called Extra Sensitive People. And I am one of those people. About 30% of the people in the world, have a little bit of difficulty with bright lights and, loud sounds and smells. And, we get triggered a little more easily than some. And most of my life, I've been really, you're so difficult, and you're such a pain in the ass, all of that. And it really wasn't. It's just, I don't go to concerts. Every time there's an ambulance coming down the street, I cover my ears. It's too much. And there are many people that have that difficulty. In fact, is her name Annalise Morissette, the singer? She is the spokesperson for this movement globally. There's about, as I said, about 30% of the globe has difficulty in some way, shape, or form with this extra sensitive person. I also picked up another book, and it's called Aspergirls, not Asperger's, Aspergirls. And I'm telling you, I picked up that book. I don't know, I was in an airport or some darn thing, and I'm going down the list, and I'm reading this book, and I'm going, check, 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 check. Like, yeah, check, check, check. And look, I don't, I'm assuming they're spectrum. Look, I'm not a doctor. I don't know much more about it than I read in the book, and I know there's a spectrum. And one, I don't know, maybe infinity, not quite sure, but and I started to give myself, forgive myself, because it just came to pass that I went, you know what? It's just the way I'm wired. It's the synapses or whatever the heck it's called, synapses. It's the way I'm wired. So like with all of us, you kind of have to take the good with the bad. I've got a heart of gold, but you can't be cooking fish in my kitchen.
Right.
You know, I mean, 'cause if you're cooking at night, if I wake up the next morning and I smell fish like that, I feel physically ill. It's not my fault. It's just who I am.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm gonna bring it to an end right there, Miss Clarissa. We're gonna come back and we're gonna bring Miss Clarissa back to our audience. So
Until next time.
there is strength in sisterhood.
And support in sisterhood.
Bye.
Bye.